continue with our class, lots of others people money, and this session and all of them should be dedicated to Rifash Lema of dear Rabbi Yaron Ruven Shlita. His name is Yaron Ben Doris, Ariel Ora Bas Anna, Mimar Sirachel Bas Brandel, David Shlomo Ben Sandra. Quick release of our dear friend Moshe Shmuel Ben Pnina, and Tzlacha Rabba to Giveres Chana Bas Avraham Avinu and the whole family. Beezrat Hashem. All right. So we continue with the book Others People Money, and guess what? We have to second chapter. It's a very long chapter, Baruch Hashem. And our topic is going to be Bal Talin, timely payment of wages and rentals. Right. Okay. So introduction. So maybe especially in our society, people try to I don't know. Somebody told them that you can undermine the the landlord. You cannot pay this and that. They're not going to take you to court. So, for example, where we live, it's like almost like a law. I mean, it's not written law. So if landlord goes with a tenant to court and he's poor and he's nebach, so they're going to give him 6 months free. But he's not paying. He's a bum. She's a bum. Why should they stay in my apartment for 6 months, and I have to pay the mortgage, I have to pay maintenance, I have to pay taxes, everything for what? And then guess what? They're angry. They damage the apartment. I have to pay for renovation because of what again? So that's right. When people do not have Torah, that's how they behave. Okay. But it's our responsibility to pay. So if you don't like your apartment, move out. If you cannot pay, that's a different story. Try to make some arrangements. Right. Okay, so let's do introduction. There are many ethical people of excellent character who meticulously observe the mitzvos of the Torah, yet are very weak in their observance of Bal Talin, commandments not to delay payments of wages and rentals. I have concluded that this is simply as a result of lack of knowledge, right? Because if they would be aware of these halachos, they would be extra careful to pay within the required time, just as they are extra careful with other time-related mitzvos, such as shofar. I'm not sure why it is shofar, right? Shofar, sukkah, lulav, etc. However, when it comes to Bal Talin, which is not only positive Torah commandment, but also subject to negative Torah commandments, the Yetzer haRa is quite strong, is misleading us. Chafetz Chaim introduction to Bal Talin. Okay, so let's maybe do this paragraph again, and we're going to explain. That's from Holy Chafetz Chaim. All right. So again, there are many ethical people of excellent character who meticulously observe the other mitzvos of the Torah, and very weak in the observance of Bal Talin. So meaning that people do not pay on time. And I heard many times actually people who work for a boss, small boss, like a small company, even partners. Sometimes they don't have money, sometimes they do, sometimes they invest and they don't have cash, somebody did not pay them, all of the things, or they pay them, but they don't want to pay the workers, stuff like that, or trying to cheat the workers. I mean, I heard the stories, unfortunately. So, me personally, I work for big companies, so with a big company, there is no problem like that. They just always pay check on time. There is no problem whatsoever. But with a smaller company, because on another hand, maybe they consider not their own money, right? It's a company's money, whatever it means. But when you work for a small company, for a single boss, or a partner, so it's their own money. So that's maybe a problem. I mean, maybe different. But the Torah-wise, it does not make any difference. So if somebody worked for you, you have to pay them. If you don't like they're working for you any longer, so let them go. But not paying is not an option. Right? A few stories, I think I said before. people were looking for a job, and they were unemployed, and they were hired, and then this what is it, the employer kept 1 month's salary as a deposit, like made up law. Like the guy cannot pay rent, but I'm going to use it, hold it as a deposit in case if you try to dump me and go somewhere else. Okay. So, and many times a person say, okay, I'm giving you 2 week notice. Okay, yeah, 2 weeks and plus 1 month you have to work. All of these things they'll give you runaround, and they try not to pay you this 1 month. 1 month, that's a lot of money, right? They can't come on Wednesday. Oh, okay, no Wednesday. Today's Wednesday. Come maybe next Friday between 9:30 and 9:45. Yeah, but I'm working on job. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be there. All of these things, they go like try to dump a person, unfortunately. Right. So, but again, people who are very ethical, right, and good character, excellent. He even say excellent character in all other mitzvahs, but paying on time is a problem for them. I have concluded that this simply the result of lack of knowledge. Because they would aware of the halachos, they would be extra careful within the required time, right? So many times people don't do things or do things wrong because they're not aware of consequences. So, for example, if they know that a city is going to punish you, give you some fines for sidewalk violations, for parking violations, something. So if you double park, I'm not sure how much is double parking, but Hashem, I don't double park, but some people double park. Maybe it's $150, maybe $200, I don't know, a lot of money, a lot. So now once you're aware of the consequence, now you're suddenly going to try to find a parking spot. You're not going to dump your car and just walk away, right? Because you know the consequence. So same is here, but here is, as he said, it's actually positive mitzvah, right? Positive and negative mitzvah that a person violates, right? And he would be extra careful to observe other mitzvah timely manner, like a shofar. So shofar you can blow only during during the day, not at night, right? Not after Ben Hashemashos, Sukkah, right? Only in appropriate time, Lulav also, right? Not on Shabbos and stuff like that. Right. So the problem is lack of education. All right. So let's continue. It was introduction from Hafetz Chaim. When one reads the psukim of Bal Talin, one picture a poor field worker whose family could possibly starve to death if he failed to bring home his day's wages. In such a scenario, where the life of the worker and his family are literally on the hands of the employer, one could understand why Torah designated so many commandments to paying the worker's wages on time. However, no distinction is made between the wages owed to the penniless worker who is dependent on the employer, or to the wealthy worker who is financially independent, between the substantial amount of the wages owed for a month of work or insignificant amount of wages on for a few minutes job. Right. In any of these instances, one is subject to Bal Talin. Every one of us, whether we hire a babysitter, plumber, a cab driver, or barber, etc., is occasionally subject to Bal Talin. Fortunately, if one would know the basic halachas, we would not only become more sensitive before sensitive person, but would also easily avoid transgressing the commandments Bal Talin. In section A, we examine the basics of Bal Talin. What are the commandments, and whom do they apply? And how can an employer or homeowner easily avoid transgressing them? B. In section B, we discuss many instances when Bal Talin does not apply, right? For example, if worker hasn't requested payment, there is no Bal Talin. If worker takes a position expecting the employer to be late in payment, his wages late in paying his wages, there is no Bal Talin. Okay, so let's do introduction completely. In section C, we discuss how Bal Talin applies to various workers, such as salaried employers, service provider, dentist, waiter, craftsman, painter, or car mechanic. We can learn that Bal Talin also applies to rentals. For example, chair rental, hotel room rental. Okay. In section D, we discuss additional practical application. For example, if in some cases, if one uses mikvah or lives without payment, the fees, paying the fees that day, he may have transgressed the Torah commandment. So, right, so if, on Shabbos there is no payment, right? So you can go right through into the mikvah, right? They disable the turnstile, right? So, but there is always in the mikvah like a big red letter, so like they expect you to pay to come on Sunday to on another day, or prepay something, right? You can prepay, but they're not going to forgive you, right? Nobody, because look, they provide facilities for sure. They pay taxes on this property. For sure they have to pay like for a filter. For sure they have to pay for the water. For sure they have to pay for the heat, right? To heat up the water, like clean up the towels. Somebody have to clean up the mikvah, this and that. They have to pay rabbi to come and check the mikvah. So there are many expenses, right? Why should they do it for free? You would not do it for free. Why you expect others to do for free, right? So meaning there is a sign there, right? We like you very much, but right, Shabbos, good Shabbos, but don't forget to bring $4 or whatever. Different mikvahs charge the different money. $3 for. I'm talking about men. For women, there is a different story. For women, I think they have to prepay. Right? They have to prepay. So. So some mikvahs they close like on Friday night, but in religious neighborhoods, yeah, they're open. Mikvah not too far from us, it's open for women, right? Women mikvah, men is understand, but women mikvah is open, right? They're going to attend to you on Friday night. So meaning she has to go like after the nightfall, so there is no money involved, right? So. But she has to prepare. She has to make an appointment and pay. Right. Or maybe they wouldn't let her in, but she would need to bring the money later on. Like it's not good not to bring the money in. Okay. So because it's going to be stealing 100%. All right. So let's see, and we continue. When one reads psukim of Bal Talin. What is Bal Talin? Bal means it shall not. Bal. Talin means remain overnight. Referring to the pasuk in Vayikra. It's a little different spelling. Okay, a worker's wages shall not remain with you overnight until the morning. Right. So it says clearly that if worker work the whole day. Right, so you have to pay him during the night. So meaning until the morning you have to pay him. If he worked for you the whole night, he guarded your garden, for example, right? So I don't know, a field or something. So he was a night guard. So you have to pay him until the day end, right? So that's very straightforward, right? So again, when one reads the psukim of Bal Talin, one picture a poor field worker whose family could possibly starve to death if he failed to bring their wages, and that's how actually Rashi that's how he explained, right? So in this case, it's like literally, it's not figuratively speaking. It literally what is it? this employer killing him, and not only him, but the whole family, right? And even partially kill them. For example, they did not have enough to eat, so a person starving involuntarily, it's not good for their health, right? So meaning he's going to be held responsible for sure. And that's why when Beezrat Hashem, one of my dream to go through one book, right, Shmiras Shabbos Kihilchata, right, it's 3 volume, but it's very to the point, and one of the section there is the laws of Holomayet, right? So Holomayet, the intermediate days between the holidays, first 2 days, last 2 days, and intermediate days. And there are so many laws, and one of the laws that are applicable to this, it's actually right. So you're not allowed to do a lot of work. A lot of things are forbidden on this Holomayet. It's like semi-holidays. But if you have somebody who is starving, if somebody poor person, maybe not starving, but poor person, and he needs money for his Yom Tov, so you can create a job for him, right? Even though you don't need to work in your field, even though this and even though that. So if everybody knows that he's a poor person and he's in need of job, so for sure, if you need of wages, for sure you can hire him, right? Why? Because it's so important to provide for him. Right, but needless to say, in this case, when person already worked for you, so we must pay him, right? And some of these people literally they don't have anything to eat, right? So literally, and sometimes people judge other people by the way they dress, right? And I remember my wife told me when in the office that she used to work. They had a factory. And it was the lowest paying jobs in this factory, and people from projects work there in this factory. But they have the best cell phones, like the newest one, the newest sneakers, the newest this, the newest that. So she would have an old phone from many years ago, and they have a brand new one. Right, so if a person sees somebody like that, right, the person would think like automatically, yeah, this person is well to do. Look at the sneakers is, I don't know, $500. I don't know how much. It's like a lot of money, right? This cell phone, this and that. So maybe gold chain. So maybe he's doing fine. I'm not obligated to pay. He can survive. No, but this guy, some people they into the show so much they would put everything like in their appearance, and but in reality they don't have any money. Understand? So it's not our job to judge people how they look or whether they have money or not. Our job, as Hashem said, is he's going to say, it does not matter. He's starving from death, for sure, right? He's starving. This person is very poor, or he's not poor. Like, what is it to you? Right? Maybe he has a second job. Maybe he wants to buy a yacht. Right? What is it to you? Like he worked for you, so you have to pay him. Right. So let's see. In such a scenario, with the lives of the worker. Okay. Right. So in such a scenario, when the lives of the worker and his family literally in the hands of the employer, one could understand why the Torah designated so many commandments for paying workers wages on time. So when it's literally, it's everybody understand. But again, Torah does not say if you see he has money, does not like what is it to you, right? Again, our Torah is very straightforward, right? We have to pay. If somebody work for us, we have to pay. On a deeper level, we go to commentary. On a deeper level, the Chinuch explained that Hashem, in His great kindness, gave us a mitzvah that teaches us to be compassionate. See, we learned today about compassionate in Halachos Tzadikim. To be compassionate and kind when paying people who are dependent on us for their livelihood. When we succeed in overcoming our base character traits, and practicing kindness and compassion and paying those who are dependent on us, we become worthy, midah keneget midah, to receive Hashem's kindness and generosity for all good which we depend on receiving from him. Very, very interesting. Okay, so let's quickly review. On the deeper chinuch. So chinuch is sefer chinuch when he counting 613 mitzvos. So he explained that Hashem is His great kindness gave us mitzvah that teaches to be compassionate and kind. Right. So as we learned today about in the gate of mercy. So this compassion, to be compassionate, to be merciful, is not does not work does not develop by itself. So it's b'siyata d'shmaya. I don't know how it's possible that by the hand of Hashem, right? So he like two totally different books, but we're on the same topic, right? So Hashem is teaching us how through His mitzvah, one of the mitzvah, to pay on time. And to pay on time, again, maybe we're not employer, but still we can maybe even though we rent an apartment from somebody, we hired somebody, we took a ride or something, a cab ride or something, right? Compassion and kind when people who are dependent on us for their livelihood, right? People who depend on us for livelihood. So for sure, in this case, the compassionate, maybe even pay me a little more, right? When it's not there is no such obligation. Maybe we give him like separate gift or something from time to time. But we succeed in overcome the best character trait, right? So meaning he's not knowledgeable. He's not going to go to court. He's not going to complain. He's not this. He's not that. So people try to cheat these poor people, widows, orphans, right? And practicing kindness and compassion in paying those who are dependent on us. Paying on those who depend on us. We become worthy midak and egibit now, right? Receiving Hashem kindness. So we try to support whoever depended on us, and Hashem is the midak and megillah. He supports us because we depended on Him. Beautifully said. Continue. However, no distinction is made between the wages of owned to a penniless worker or dependent on, or who is dependent on his employer, or to wealthy worker who is financially independent. So meaning again, he's a contractor. He's a self-employed. He's again, as I said, maybe he's saving for his yacht. What is different doesn't make. He did a job for us. He set up, I don't know, some computer system or something. I don't know, network. Right? It took him half an hour. Right? For you, it's going to take maybe 3 years. Right, for him to half an hour because he's professional. So he said, my service costs such and such. You agreed, so you have to pay. So don't come to him and say no. It's like, why should I pay you so much because you work half an hour? Because for his knowledge, Okay, continue. Although the Torah prohibition applies even to rich worker, nevertheless, if one has enough money to pay only one of his workers on time, he is required to pay a poor worker first. Okay, so here's right. So here's a little insight. So if this employer has only money to pay one person, and there is one who has money, and another who is very poor, so he has to pay the poor because literally the poor life depends on this money, right? Also, so there is a greater responsibility to see that the poor worker gets paid on time, because punishment comes faster if one fails to do so, right? So meaning if this poor person is going to scream to Hashem about all of this injustice that was committed against him, as we learned in Kav Yashar, right? Hashem is going to hear him right away, and he's going to punish Chas v'Shalom this person. Right. So 1 second. Again, or the wealthy person, financially independent, between the subset. Right. So meaning does not matter whether it's wealth. Torah does not differentiate. If a poor employee, rich, like not rich but financially independent employee, right? Or he owed him a lot of money, months work, or even for a few minutes work, right? What is few minutes work? I don't know. you ask him help me with this heavy box. Could you air conditioner? So you got air conditioner, and then let it downstairs, right? So you ask somebody, can you get this air conditioner to buy, I don't know, 8th floor or something? He said, yes, sir. And he brought you on his shoulder. Let's say maybe 8th floor is too much. On the 3rd floor without elevator, right? So he brought it, you have to pay him. Okay, it took him 10 minutes. Yeah, forget about 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Yeah, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, it does not make any difference. You said that you're going to pay. You have to pay him. Right. So all of this, again, whether it's for a month's work or a few minutes work, it's absolutely relevant. You have to pay. Or somebody help you to load your car. So, and you ask this person, so it was heavy things to put on the roof of your car. Okay, so you said that you're going to pay, you have to pay. Every one of us, whether we hire a babysitter, plumber, or cab driver, barber, etc., occasionally subject to Bal Talin, right? So, suddenly a person does not have money. So I was in a grocery store paying for vegetables. And the guy in front of me, he was looking for money. And this lady, I'm not sure he has this authority to say this cashier. So she said, "Don't worry." So we will take cash. I mean, she was joking. She said, "Even if you don't have money, so just bring later." I'm not sure if she's authorized to do that. Maybe yes, maybe no. Maybe it's a company policy, right? So meaning he forgot money at home, but it was big shopping. It's not like a few dollars. Okay, so it's very interesting. So meaning he has to pay on time. So meaning he cannot say, yeah, next time I'm going to come to the store, I'm going to pay. No, like as soon as possible, next day, this day, whatever. But yeah, we have to return. Continue. Fortunately, if one would know the basic halachas, he would not only become more a sensitive person, but would also easily avoid transgressing commandment of Bal Talin. So meaning, knowing of halachas is very, very important. So first of all, person is going to escape a lot of suffering in their life. Right? Why? Because all of this suffering happened to a person. And then I ask a few questions and I try to figure out what is the problem. And that person tells me something like, "Are you serious?" I said, "But I said not nicely, of course, but you know that you deserve a death penalty, right? In this world and the world to come for whatever you're doing." I said, "No, nobody told me." Right? 20 years ago, the guy goes to the shul. Nobody told him. Nobody. I believe 100%. Right, and people wish him refuah shlema, and people wish him good parnasa, but the problem is different problem. Why? Because he's not knowledgeable, and nobody is sensitive enough to tell the person, to care about the person, tell him the way things are. Okay, he's going to change, she's going to change their own business. Right. Next, okay, so now we're going through like introduction. What are we going to learn in this section, in this chapter? So in section 8, we examine the basic of Bal Talin, meaning paying on time. That are commandments. What are commandments, and who do they apply? So as we said, right, for services, for payments, right, rental, and how can employer or homeowner easily avoid transgressing some. So meaning it has to be some kind of agreement, right, and understanding in place that, for example, some people have a grace period, right? For example, I have to pay rent until before the first of the month, but I have until 7th. So if I pay until 7th, there is no penalty. But after 7th, the penalty starts. Okay, right. So meaning that there is understanding. Yes, I have to pay, but there is some grace period, whatever, until so I have to pay. Okay. So meaning that it's understanding. So meaning even though I'm late, but there is some some agreement. Okay, so in section B, we discuss many instances when Bal Talin does not apply. For example, worker hasn't requested his payment. There is no Bal Talin. So for example, if somebody is work and paid monthly or bi-weekly or weekly, so it is like, in this sense, it is like he requests his payment, right? I don't have to go to my employer and remind him that there is that they have to pay me money. For example, when I started job, they gave us checks, paper checks, like on Friday, secretary go around the office, give everybody check, paper check, right? But then we switched to direct deposit. It was a long time. Direct deposit, so they still give us a check, but it's like it's empty check, right? It's just a statement that you had actually direct deposit. Then they start doing everything electronically, no more paper things. But so meaning a person who was on vacation, he would not get a check, right? So he would come later, but it's understandable because he was not there to get the check. So the company is not in any violation. Right, but on one hand, on another hand, if it's direct deposit, so yes, I expect every whatever, like 30th or first of the month, I don't know, first or second of the month. So I'm going to get the direct deposit on the 15th of the month, 16th of the month, so whatever, depends on weekday. So I'm going to get direct deposit. So it's like, in a sense, that I'm asking it, right? But in other case, person is not asking. We need to see what does it mean, like what he does not need money. Okay. If worker takes a position expecting the employer to be late in payment in his wages, there is no Bal Talin. Right. So meaning what? Meaning what? That the guy worked. For example, contractor, right? He was fixing the house, and this guy said, "Look, for example, they know each other," and he said, "Look, you did a great job. I cannot pay you, or even though what the agreement before. I'm going to pay you as soon as I sell the house." Okay, so now, yeah, he did the job, yes, completely, yes, but he's not going to hold grudge against this employer. Why? Because he said, "I'm going to pay you later." It was expected. In section C, we discuss how Bal Talin applies to various workers, such as salary employees, service provider, dentist, waiter, okay, craftsman, a painter, or car mechanic. So meaning salaries of employee, right? That's usually they pay after we pay. Salary after person worked, right? Same is service provider, dentist. Well, he bills and we pay them after. Well, waiter, all of this, craftsman, all of these things. Okay, we will learn that Bal Talin also applies to rentals. For example, chair rental. Maybe in barber shop they have a chair rental or some other things. At hotel room rental, I'm not sure what is it to say. I mean, usually from my experience, they just charge you in advance. So you cannot not to pay. You cannot cancel. I mean, usually they have no cancellation policy. Usually, like or they give you 48 hours, or sometimes they give you like a big discount. They said there is no cancellation policy. You agree? Have to click yes 3 times or something, and that's it. If you cancel, you lose all of the money. Right, or 48 hours. So if you can say yes, I got to the car accident, say I got this, okay, we feel very sorry, but that's it. So yes, we understand you're not coming to stay with us, but we already rented the room, right? So meaning I will already charge your card. In last section D, we discuss additional practical application. For example, if in some cases, if one uses mikvah and lives without paying. I mean, mikvah, of course, it's not such a sophisticated thing, right? So you can go around, and people. I'm not sure. Like in my mind, I saw some people, some crooks. hopefully they're going to pay. But why? If you think about it, you're trying to go to purify yourself, to be spiritual, to be forgiven for some sins, and in a process of this, you're stealing. So you better, I'm talking about men for sure. Go stay under the shower. It should be counted as a mikvah. 10 minutes, 13 minutes. It's going to be counted as a mikvah, and you don't steal from anybody. But some people, as he said in the beginning, some people so uneducated. Let's put it this way. Okay, so stop here. All right. All right, so beautiful timing. So let's stop here. 5 minutes break, and we continue with other topics. 5 minutes.